Hello and welcome to our Ozobot tutorial. Today you're going to be learning how to use one of these tiny little robots called an Ozobot. So if I hit this button over here, it turns on and starts getting very bright over here. We have two tiny wheels and we have a whole bunch of light sensors over here that's going to pick up the colors of this little design over here. So as you can see, it's tracing this completely around. What we want to do is we want to make sure we draw nice, big, thick lines, not too thick and not too thin. So for example, what you don't want to do is do super thick lines like this or super thin lines like this. If you take our Ozobot and put it on the thin line, it's going to have a hard time even reading it. I have to push it along, and even when it does move, it kind of gets stuck in place. Whether we put it on the thick line, it does move, but there's just so much for it to sense, it doesn't know which direction to go. So what you really want to do is go for lines like this. Now they don't have to just be a solid black line. You could even use any color that you have, such as magenta, red, green, and blue. Now before you do any coding, first thing you need to do is calibrate your Ozobot. And I'm going to start by doing I started already. So I'm going to draw a nice black dot in the middle of my paper. Just like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to take our Ozobot and we're going to look for the button. We're going to hold it down until it starts blinking white like that. We're going to put that right on top of the dot. Hold on one second, I might do it one more time. Put it right on top of the dot. And it's going to move forward just like that. That means that it's now calibrated to the light in the room. This is really important to do before you start anything else. After you're done drawing basic mazes or basic shapes, you can start drawing in codes. On the top over here we have speed, we have direction codes, and then we have a bunch of cool moves over here. A lot of this you'll have to experiment with, and sometimes these codes won't work on the first try, but you have to stay patient. The real trick is you want to make sure that these lines look exactly like the picture. We want a nice solid black line like before, and we want tiny squares of the colors in question, and really notice the patterns here. For instance, blue, green, red is nitro boost, but in reverse, it's the snail does over here. The last thing that we're going to look at today is an example code. As you can see, I drew a black line. I tried to get the blue cubes exactly like our original picture. And what we're going to do is we're going to place this down. And if we read it correctly, it'll get a nice speed boost. Just like that. And that concludes the basics on how to use the Ozobot. Feel free to experiment with it. Check their website for many more tips and tricks and interesting challenges. And stay tuned for more.